And a welcome here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. They are open for sales and service Monday through Saturday and all the time online at greatlakeshondacity.com. So make sure you go online and check out their inventory and see their new and used vehicles, all that you can buy and lease at greatlakeshondacity.com. With that being said, we're up and down the East Coast, the Midwest, the West Coast, and all around the globe on YouTube.com and Facebook.com, both /WakeUpCallDT, and on WakeUpCallDT.mixlr.com. That's right, we're back on MixLR for internet stream and radio. We were there years ago, and we were there for many years, and we had a lot of wonderful, beautiful moments in our history, so we're happy to be back with MixLR. Make sure you go there. It is wakeupcalldt.mixlr.com. You can also pick up any one of these live feeds by going to our main website, wakeupcalldt.com. Right underneath the words Wake Up Call, it says Tune In Live, and then you can pick how you want to tune in. You can click on YouTube, click on Facebook, or click on MixLR. So make sure you do that as well. Make it easy. And we are so happy to be here on a Thursday because we have P to the Jizzle, J. Edgar Twizzle, Papa Joe, the Go-So, the grand old smooth one, and the guy who's going to end up taking over the Oakland Athletics and finally give them a city. I think he's bringing them to St. Augustine. We'll find out. So PJ here with us this morning. He's going to talk with us about Major League Baseball. We are about 110 games into the season. Hard to believe. It was like we were 50 games in and then the All-Star break. And then I'm like, what are we, about 90 games in? 110 games in for some of these teams now in the 162-game season. We'll talk about Major League Baseball. We'll also talk a little bit about the NFL as we get ready for fantasy football. Preseason has started and some guys have already gotten some action. And then we'll go into our newest partnership, and that is with OnTECH. And the feature that we have today, the Wolfpack Mentality, in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with OnTECH Charter High School in Syracuse, New York, the first of its kind for any high school here in the community. OnTECH will be with me every week in what we call Wolfpack Mentality. And today, in our segment at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, our inaugural episode will feature the girls flag football head coach, Heaven Lewis, joining me here today after I spent some time with her yesterday at OnTECH's fair that they had with their students. So a lot of great stuff coming up where sports meets life. We got PJ in the building. There he is, next to me. We did an impromptu show last week, and in that impromptu show that we did mid-afternoon on Thursday, hard to believe it was a week ago, that mid-afternoon broadcast that we did very, very well, and that just reminds you, people love Papa Joe. PJ, how are we doing today?
Well, thanks you, Daniel. I'm fine. Fine. Well, we've been off the air for a while. I enjoyed the little time I had to myself, but I'm always thinking baseball anyway, so I'm glad you're doing well. I'm glad you got more partners coming on, and I'm glad you're traveling and getting a lot of things done, which is always fun. And you got all these conferences you're working for. I don't know if I'm ever going to see you again. You may not come to St. Augustine at all. My goodness.
No, I'll definitely be down in St. Augustine. I will tell you this, full disclosure. I thought about getting on a plane yesterday and coming down to Florida. Not even telling anybody, just leaving. So I did think about it. It's on my mind, and I know that I will see you very soon. I'm also trying to get back to a Rays game, hopefully sometime soon. So happy to be here with Papa Joe, speaking on Major League Baseball. Thank you for all the kind words, PJ, as always. And I will now defer to you, as we always do inside a Major League Baseball season, to catch people up on what's going on. And right now, at this point, we are 100-plus games into the 2026 season. PJ, take us away.
Well, a lot of things have happened since the last time we really spoke about baseball. Not counting last week. We had fun last week. I do so much better that way, just sort of ad-libbing, you know?
Yeah.
Now I have things in front of me. I have numbers in front of me, so I have to gag. Things have definitely changed. And that for the good for some of these teams. One of them being the Yankees. Let's go to the American League East, where the Rays have got a 6-game lead over the Yankees. And why is that? Because they were 9-1 in their last 10 games. while the Yankees are only 6-4. The Red Sox 5-5. Saw the Red Sox play last night. I don't know what turned them around, but they were dead a month ago, Daniel, 6 weeks ago, and now they're right there, close to a spot. When you go to American League Central, the White Sox have impressed me from the get-go. They got good pitching. They got a sensational rookie player from Japan, Murakami or something like that. I got him written down somewhere, but he's not going to cover off the ball. And they're maintaining their lead. And frankly, I don't think they're going to give it up. I think they're going to stay there the whole time, and I think they'll win that Central.
Yeah.
We got the American League West. Nothing looks good in this deal. The Astros are up 200, 2 games over 500, and they got a 1.5 game lead over the Rangers, 5.5 over the Mariners, who are playing the Yankees the last couple of nights. I've seen them play. Absolutely, I'm amazed at how far down Cal Raleigh has come since his signature game last year, or season last year, where he hit 60 home runs and batted over 100, and now he can't catch up to a fastball. He's so far below on Mendoza line, I don't have a number for it.
Yeah.
I know it. If it's 200 is a Mendoza line, if I go further under the Mendoza line is 180, and he's under 180.
Yeah.
Can't figure that one out. Anyway, we go to the National League. The Braves are trying to keep the Phillies at bay. They got a 9.5 game lead. They probably got the best record in baseball, or pretty close to it. They were 7-3 last 10 games. The Phillies are 5-5. The Phillies have got to put the pedal to the metal. They got the hitters. They got some good pitchers. They're not Atlanta. I saw Atlanta play New York, and they swept them just about. And Atlanta doesn't have any weak spots. Plus, they're going to get some good pitching back. Strider is one of them. So Atlanta is going to really give LA a run for their money in this National League pennant. In the Central, the Brewers are running away with everything. Not that far, because the Cubs are right next to them by 3 games. But the Brewers, I think, yes, they do have the best record in baseball, followed by the Braves. The Brewers have got probably the brightest and strongest rookie, or I say rookie, but pitcher that's come up in quite a long time, and that's Jake Mizorowski, who is leading the league in strikeouts,
Yeah.
ERA. I'll get to him later. But the Brewers look really, really, really tough. National League West, the Dodgers, of course, are up. Got a very good record of 73-48. They were 4-6 in their last 10 games, which allowed the Padres to sneak in second place now, 8.5 behind. Arizona's still hanging tough. They're 64-58. Arizona still is not playing what I call the best baseball for them. They got decent pitching. Platt is starting to pitch a little bit better. Merrill Kelly's trying to hang tough too. They're not hitting that well. Corbin Carroll can't do it by himself. There's a lot of things that the Diamond guys have got to do better before they even sneak into this.
Yeah.
They played the Dodgers a couple just last week, and I think they took 2 out of 3 from them or something like that. But the Dodgers are the strength in baseball. I look at their lineup. Now they got Terry Skubal, who's twirling for them. He pitched the other night, I think he pitched 6 innings, and gave up 3 runs. His fastball wasn't riding as fast as I thought it would be. And now they got Blake Snell, pitched 2 nights ago, pitched into the 6th inning, only gave up 1 run on 3 hits. If he comes back tough, just nasty left-hander, Skubal and Snell are left-handers. Boy, I feel for the rest of the teams. There's a lot to talk about, Daniel, when it talks about when we speak about the standings.
Yeah.
And one of them is, of course, is the I'll get to the stats, individual stats later, but I think we should go into the wild card standings. And I think that's probably going to open up some
discussion.
there.
Yeah, I mean, and if you'll have me here as you gave the rundown of the standings overall. I actually brought, I mean, smart minds think alike, I guess, PJ, because while you were talking, I was bringing up the wild card standing. So you giving us the standings for each division, I will present the wild card standings, and then, you know, you can kind of break down your thoughts. And like you said, it'll provoke some conversation, which I'm sure it will. Let's start with the American League. The Tampa Bay Rays lead the entire American, not just the American League East, but they're the entire American League side. They are the number one team if the playoffs were to start today, followed by the number 2 team, the Chicago mother-freaking White Sox, who have been really, really good this season. They've been 1 or 2 in their division, currently leading the Central, like PJ was talking about. And the Astros, that fight with the Texas Rangers and the Seattle Mariners, are currently leading their division of the AL West, as you mentioned, which makes them the 3rd team in the American League because their record overall is behind the White Sox and the Rays. If the wild card were to happen today, the first wild card team, the 4th seed of the American League, would be the New York Yankees. The second wild card team and 5th seed would be the Boston Red Sox, and the final spot in the wild card, the 6th seed, would go to the Texas Rangers. I'll pause there before we go to the National League, PJ. What are your thoughts on the current way that things would shake out? The Minnesota Twins, the Detroit Tigers, and the Cleveland Guardians are all within a game of the final wild card spot. The Blue Jays are a game and a half away, so there's a lot of teams that are right there trying to fight the Rangers for that final spot. But your take on the fact that the Rays, the White Sox, and the Astros currently lead their division, the Rays lead everybody, and the wild card teams would be Yankees, Red Sox, and Rangers if it started today.
The Rangers don't look that tough this year. Minnesota is in a battle in their Central Division. Detroit somehow has given up on. I thought they gave up on the season when they traded Skubal. I don't see the 3 players or the 3 players they traded for are playing yet, or even if they are. How do you give up someone like Skubal and not have something that's immediate for you to put in your lineup and try to win some games?
Yeah.
Detroit and Minnesota are going to continue to flounder. Texas still has some decent pitching. The Red Sox, I'm telling you, Daniel, 6 weeks ago, they were dead. They were 20 games behind everyone, and they just absolutely blew the doors off. There's the hitting, the pitching. You know, I say the same thing. It's pitching and defense, and they're doing great. I don't mind watching them. I'm not a Boston fan, but I don't mind watching them. I've been watching the Yankees the last week or so because I have my MLB package, and I try to catch all the games that I can and talk about them. The Yankees are still waiting for their top pitchers to come back. Rodon is almost ready to come back. Garrett Cole is not himself. He looks a little shaky. His fastball is not as near as it was before. Warren got nailed for 3 home runs in the first 2 innings last night, except the Yankees came back, stormed back, and won the game over Seattle. The Yankees are being led by a couple of youngsters. Lombard and Spencer. These 2 kids are amazing. Lombard is the one that took Anthony Volpe's place, which I thought was a raw deal on his case. Just so people understand, the Yankees at the trade deadline, the Yankees got a couple of good hitters, Lopez and Garcia, to plug in their lineup. But in order to do that, they had to remove some players from their active roster and demote them to the minor leagues, Scranton, Wilkes-Barre. Mm-hmm. And the 2 they demoted were Jason Dominguez, who has so much potential. I don't understand what's locking this guy in. He's switch hitter, runs, catches everything, hits home runs. Maybe he's putting too much pressure on himself. Maybe the Yankees are. And of course, Volpe was the darling of the league 3 years ago. 2 years ago, he was okay. Last year, he was a basket case. And this year was awful. So they have no choice but to option those kids to Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Volpe hit him up the side of the head. And the reason I say that is because Lombard is the one they're moving in, and that was going to happen next year.
Yeah.
Instead, it's happening now. So if they're going to make a run, they got to do it with Lombard, and this kid's terrific. He ranges to the far left and right, catches anything, got a couple of home runs already since he's been up. He's hitting over 300. I mean, what's not to like about the kid? And he's giant. He's great. And I'm thinking that the other kid was 6'7", almost rivals Judge, who was not playing yet. Neither is Bellinger. He's hit 5 home runs and almost hit one out of stadium the other night. The Yankees are trying to score enough runs to win games until their pitching comes around. Yeah. Although the pitching has been very good with some middle of the road guys. They're doing terrific. I don't think the Yankees can be any more pleased with their pitching. The hitting is circumspect, but they got the players, these 2 guys that they brought in. Plus, when Judge and Bellinger comes back, what are you going to do now? You still got some areas to cover, and you still have some guys that you may have to demote or release. McMahon at third base being one of them. Rosario third base, another one. So it's going to be a tough road to hoe for the Yankees until they get their pitching straight with their starters, I should say. And Garrett Cole they have to ride him, and he's got to do better. Maybe he come back from his injury a little bit too soon. But I watched him the other night. Didn't look himself. His breaking ball wasn't snapping as well as I'd like to see it. And his sinker wasn't sinking as much as it should. So we'll see what happens going forward here.
Yeah, and seeing the Yankees live and seeing the guys that they've brought in, I mean, obviously there's been a help to this Yankee team, and I give them a lot of credit for the moves that they made, because bringing in the guys that they have brought in has been a big help. I mean, Ramos has done some good things, and before the trade deadline, bringing him in was definitely a helpful piece. I've seen that firsthand, and not only that move that they made, but the Yankees to also bring in Luis Garcia Jr., he's come up big, and then to bring up Lombard. I mean, Lombard's been phenomenal for this team. George Lombard Jr. is 21 years old. He was born in 2005, and he has come up defensively. He's come up offensively, and then we've seen Ben Rice rise. Ben Rice had dipped below. You talked about the Mendoza line. If batting Mendoza line is 200, he was at 143 or 145, and he took those tough moments he was having and turned it into, in the first game against the Braves, bouncing back and helping them win in an extra inning, and then him cranking a single run home run, his solo shot that he sent out, that I was right there for. I was out in right field and seeing it go up and head out towards center field. So, I mean, Ben Rice has done a good job and found his way. Trent Grisham has done some things as well. This is a team that's trying to figure it out. This is a team that's trying to navigate the fact that Jason Dominguez was struggling, Anthony Volpe was struggling. They're navigating the world without Aaron Judge, and they've been doing that for a while now. So to see the Yankees be the number 1 wild card team, despite the adversity that they've gone through and kind of this moving around of the roster, I give them a lot of credit. And they did it last year when they didn't have their ace, when they didn't have Garrett Cole. I'll say it, and I'll stand on this mountain. Max Fried saved the Yankees last year, coming in and them bringing him in. So, I mean, some of these moves that they've made have helped to save them when they have injuries. Last year it was Max Fried. This year, Ramos, Garcia, Lombard helping the team here, coming in, and in case of Lombard coming up from AAA, from Scranton Wilkes-Barre, and in the case of, Ramos and Garcia coming in before the trade deadline, for the Yankees to keep pushing. But the Tampa Bay Rays are the Tampa Bay Rays, and they're a difficult team. They find way. They have great, and I'll say this, they have great scouting. They just do. They know who to take in the draft. They know who to bring in. They get the guys on the cheaper side, and they put them out there on the field, and they do a tremendous job. The Tampa Bay Rays don't spend the money that the Yankees spend or the Mets spend or the Dodgers spend, but they're a team that's consistently in the playoffs, and they're a team that's consistently fighting the New York Yankees for the number 1 spot of the American League East. So Tampa has proven year in and year out, change our personnel, we're still good. And that says a lot about who they are and what they're doing, and I have a lot of respect for them. The Chicago White Sox, I loved that early on in the season they were playing well. I loved that the story of a team that's a 100-loss team a season, that's not the case anymore. They have 62 wins right now, 57 losses at the time we're talking. But the Chicago White Sox last year, the year before, they were fighting the Athletics for being the worst team in baseball. They were literally fighting to hold the bottom spot. Who's going to be 29 and who's going to be 30 of the 30 Major League Baseball teams. And then they started to show some life early on this season. They're in first place, then they're in second place. And then you always say, okay, it's the tale of two halves. You're good in the first half of the season. What about the second half? Or vice versa. I've seen the Diamondbacks where they have a good first half of the season, bad second half after the All-Star break, or the other way around. So with the Chicago White Sox, a team that's been bad perennially for these last few years, you're thinking, are they for real or are they not? They've proven that they're for real. The Kansas City Royals are struggling royally, pun fully intended, and the Chicago White Sox are more alive than they've been in years. So I think the best stories of the American League are the fact that the Chicago White Sox have shown up to this point that they are for real. And I think the other great story, PJ, is that the Tampa Bay Rays are a team, once again, that has great scouting, doesn't spend a ton of money, and no matter who ends up leaving their roster, they never rebuild, they just reload.
They're a joy to watch, to play, and enjoy to read about. This has been going on since the days of Joe Madden was there. I don't know what it is, though. Maybe it's the water down over there. Yeah. They continue to roll in players. They continue to trade away players that are really good players and bring in nondescript players that play really well. There's nothing that can be said of other than they play good baseball. And Kevin Cash is probably, if not this year, crazy. He's been the manager of the year probably for the last 3 or 4 years. The guy can push every button. He knows his pitching staff. He's got his sluggers. He's got his hit and run. He does a lot of things right. I enjoy watching Tampa Bay play, even against New York, who I love terribly. But that's no here or there. When we get to the National League, we're saying that the Cubs got a 7.5 lead in that wild card situation, with the Padres 1 game back. Everyone else is far back. This Wildcat situation has a lot to say. There's a lot to be done, a lot of games to be played yet. I don't think the Cubs are backing up anywhere. But that second spot is going to be in. There's 3 or 4 teams that are going to be playing for it, and your Diamondbacks are one of them.
Well, yeah, and when we look at the National League and where they are, if the playoffs were to start today, and again, at the time you're watching and listening, we're over 100 games in to the 2026 Major League Baseball season. There's 162 games overall, as you know, and as we look at the National League, if the playoffs started today, the Milwaukee Brewers are the number 1 seed. The number 2 seed, the Atlanta Braves. The number 3 seed, the Los Angeles Dodgers. They do not have the best record in baseball. They do not have the best record in the National League on their side. 30 Major League Baseball franchises, 15 in the American, 15 in the National. The Los Angeles Dodgers are not the best of the 15 in the National, nor are they the best of the 30. And that's something that the expectation has been, is that the Dodgers are the best team in baseball. They're going to have the best record in baseball, blah, blah, blah. They had 100 wins and got beat by the Diamondbacks a few years back. And there's complaints of, well, teams that have all these wins, when they don't play the first round, then, they struggle because they're waiting. Here's my thing. All your wins do is get you in. Your wins get you, well, I shouldn't say all they do is get you in, but your wins get you in. They give you a spot and they get you in. If you can't win because you got a few more days off, that's not anybody else's problem in the wild card. That's your problem. That's your deal. But they've said there's this unfair advantage of wild card teams, and I was like, how is it unfair advantage? The wild card teams have to play for their lives, while the other teams that automatically advance get to sit and watch. Would you rather sit and watch and know you're in the second round, or would you rather play for your life early? So, I just think in any given series, there's a better team. And you can say the Dodgers were better in 2023, but the Diamondbacks beat them. You can say the Phillies were better in 2023. I thought people were saying nobody could beat the Phillies. Diamondbacks beat them. Oh, well, that's why you play the game. So when you look at the National League now, the Dodgers are not the best team in the National League. They are they are third behind the Brewers and the Braves. If the wild card were to start today, the Chicago Cubs are the number 4 seed, which means they're the first wild card spot in the National League. The second wild card spot goes to the San Diego Fathers, those San Diego Padres. And the 6th spot goes to the Arizona mother freaking Diamondbacks. Now, the Philadelphia Phillies are right there with the Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks hold a slight edge despite the fact that they both have the same record. Then the Miami Marlins, a team that I have circled that has not gone away all season, PJ. They're the 3rd team in the National League East. They're above the Washington Nationals, and they're above the New York Mets. They are still very much alive. They are at this time a game and a half out of the wild card, speaking of the Miami Marlins, and 2.5 games out the St. Louis Cardinals. The Washington Nationals aren't out of it either. They're 5 games back, so they still have a shot. But right now, it's Brewers, Braves, Dodgers, top 3 seeds leading their divisions. The Brewers lead the Central and have the best record in the National League. The Braves have led the National League East most of this year. And the Los Angeles Dodgers lead the National League West. Then it's the Cubs out of the Central. It's the Padres and the Diamondbacks out of the West. Once again, PJ, in the National League West, of the 5 Major League Baseball franchises, 3 of them are fighting to get in the postseason, and that's what typically happens. The National League West, just like the American League East on the other side, is fighting to take the majority of the spots that are in the postseason, looking to take half of them right now, and they've done it before. And Arizona's had themselves a good run since the All-Star break. However, they're 5-5 in the last 10, and right now they're just a little bit behind the San Diego Padres. So your thoughts on the National League and where we're at right now if the playoffs were to start today?
Well, what we talked about is true. The 3 teams in front aren't going to back up at all. The Phillies are going to have to play a lot better. They're doing right now to capture their wild card, which is conceivably easy for them to do. They got I think one of the best pitchers in the National League going for them, Chris Sanchez. The Cubs are not going anywhere either. They're not going to challenge the Brewers for their division lead, but they'll be a force in the playoffs. Greg Counsell is another guy like Kevin Cash. Counsell used to be the manager for the Brewers for 5 years or so, and now he's in the same division. And of course, they boo him every time he comes into Milwaukee. It's kind of fun to watch that. He just smiles and he coaches baseball. That's all. He's a hell of a coach. It's going to be tough. Going to be tough sledding for the rest of these teams. I don't see the other teams going at all anywhere. The 3 division heads are just they're solid. They're just solid. And then the other ones are going to have to scramble. That's all. I got individual stats that we can go into, and perhaps maybe our listeners will understand where I'm coming from with some of these teams.
Yeah.
In the American League, gentleman by the name of Yordan Alvarez has been setting the league on fire for a month. He is a possible Triple Crown winner. Now, when I say Triple Crown winner, that means batting average, home runs, and runs batted in. Very difficult to do. Very difficult to do. Anyway, he's leading the American League with a 322 average. He's also hit 35 homers, which is the best, and he's got 87 RBIs. He's sloughed off a little bit in the last week. I'm sure pitchers are pitching around him, but he's a force boy. He is really something else. In the National League, or actually, let me go into pitching. There's 3 really good pitchers that are doing well right now. Sonny Gray from Boston, who I watched pitch the other night.
Yeah.
He's got 14 wins. Cam Schlisker for the Yankees, who was nasty. He's about 6'7", 6'8", big long arms, strides 2 feet to the plate, longer than anyone else in the game. He's right on top of you with a 98 mile an hour fastball. and he's nasty, but he he walks too many guys, and he gets in trouble, and that's not going to happen. But anyway, he's leading the league in an ERA of 2.21 with Dylan Cease from Toronto behind in second place. Dylan Cease been a great pitcher for many years. I think he was with San Diego for many years, and he got hurt again, came back with Toronto. He's still his nasty self. He's these kind of stats are you don't make these stats up because these guys claw for every out that they can get. Pitching right now, pitching is the name of the game. It always has been. It always will be. Beginning of the year, the hitters have the advantage because they just come out of spring training. They're seeing a lot of different pitchers. They're seeing a lot of good balls they hit. But as the season goes on, you see pitchers starting to dominate, and that's what's happening. Now, I do have some really interesting stats here that I think are real important.
Yeah, go ahead.
And it's the I'm going to start with this. I'm going to say the American League most valuable player candidates. Let's put it that way. Candidates. You got Alvarez, of course.
Yeah.
Who was a possible Triple Crown winner. You got Junior Caminero from Tampa Bay, who was leading that team. He's hitting 279, 35 homers, 77 RBIs. Then you got my man Ben Rice from the Yankees in 258, 32 homers, 76 RBIs. Now, Ben Rice was tearing it up about a month ago. And he went from hitting 320 down to this. He still is, very close to Mendoza line in the last 3 weeks or so. He's not seeing fastballs as much as he has before. He's being struck out on sliders out of the zone. He's a sucker for for change-ups, but he can sit on a fastball. If he gets one, it's gone. In the National League, my MVP leader is Pete Crow Armstrong from the Cubs.
Yeah.
He's at 284, 27 homers, 73 RBIs. Then you got the perennial favorite, Ohtani, who's hitting 292, 27 homers, 74 RBIs. And then the young man named C.J. Abrams from Washington, who doesn't get enough coverage. He's hitting 284, 29 homers, 91 RBIs, leading the league in night. And this kid plays on a bad team. Not a bad team, but not one up to snuff. And he's knocking in runs and he's playing his heart out. Tough. In the National League Cy Young, the winner is going to be Jake Mizorowski from the Brewers. Nothing else to say about it. He's 11-5 with a 1.76 ERA, 204 strikeouts. After him, he got Chris Sale. Used to be with Boston. He's with at Atlanta now. He's 12-7, 2.20 ERA, 151 Ks. And then Philadelphia's Chris Sanchez, 15-4, 2.454 ERA with 181 Ks. These players that I just talked about are the ones that are leading their teams.
Yeah.
Mizorowski's hands down the National League Cy Young Award right now. There's no question about it. Unless Sanchez can throw a couple more shutouts later in the year here to bring it up. Mizorowski, they're being smart with him. Sometimes managers and coaches, they get these kids that come up to from the minor leagues, and they have such electric stuff that they want to see them pitch. But they let them throw too much. They throw too much warm-up. They throw too much in the pen. And they're going past 6 innings. They're throwing too much. But in Milwaukee's case, Milwaukee's playing it smart. They're only giving this kid 5 innings. If they're leading, 5 innings is enough.
Yeah.
If he's into the game, maybe 6 innings. His pitch count is just about always under 90, along with Schlisker for the Yankees. This is smart by Milwaukee's playing. They're going to win their division probably, and this is smart by keeping this kid on the sidelines. Not like with Ohtani, the Dodgers are smart too, but we want to see him pitch, and he hasn't pitched. He's hitting the hell out of the ball. He hit a home run last night, 2 RBIs. But in order for Ohtani and guys like Ohtani and Jake Mizrowski, they have to excel in the postseason. Both of these teams, Milwaukee and LA, are setting their top pitchers up for rest. Ohtani never goes 6 innings. He's not even pitching now. And they've said so. Look, they got enough pitching to do it. They got Yamamoto, Suzuki, Snell's back now. They got enough. So they don't need Ohtani now. But they'll need him going forward, so they're quote unquote resting him.
Yeah, well, I mean,
see the thing.
Must be nice. You know, it must be nice to be the Dodgers, where you got about 67 pitchers and 82 players on your team. But it's just, I mean, they have, and obviously I'm being facetious here, and the reality of it all is these Los Angeles Dodgers, they have starters behind their starters, behind their starters, behind their starters, because they have the money, they're deferring it, and they've built a roster. They have built a championship roster. The Yankees did it a long time ago. The Yankees went and bought players and had more than enough, and they could get whoever they wanted, whenever they wanted, pretty much, and that's what's happening in the Dodgers case as well. So they don't need Shohei Ohtani. They brought in Skubal. They have Benny Snell, who they brought in last year. So you got Cy Young guys. They're literally looking around the country going, we got Shohei Ohtani. He's a great player, arguably the best ever. Nobody can pitch and hit like him historically, not even Babe Ruth. So when you look at it that way, he is the best ever. And then on top of that, Benny Snell, that's a Cy Young winner. Let's go get him. Well, Skubal's a Cy Young winner. Let's go get him. And they got the money to do it. And they have the plan and the path to do it. And they have somebody keeping their books that's really smart. So, I mean, the Dodgers don't need to put out Shohei Ohtani, and it's a beautiful problem to have because they can rest him. Speaking of pitching, though, the Pittsburgh Pirates, their ace, Paul Skeens, he's battling another dip in his fastball velocity currently right now. He was lifted after just 65 pitches in Tuesday's loss to the Miami Marlins, leading to speculation about the health status of the reigning National League Cy Young Award winner. Pirates manager Don Kelly insisted Skeens' early exit, quote, wasn't injury-related, end quote, saying he lifted the All-Star before the start of the 6th inning because he, quote, thought it gave us the best chance to win, end quote. Skeens said he understood Kelly's lifting of him, taking him off the field, adding that he did not plead to stay in the game and quipping, quote, if I were the manager, I'd probably do it too. Kelly walked me through everything and it made sense. I wish I could have gone more, but it kind of is what it is, end quote. Skeens is 9-11 this season as a starter. He allowed 2 runs, 1 earned on 5 hits with 1 walk on 4 strikeouts, tied for his second lowest total this season in a start lasting at least 5 innings. It was his lowest pitch total since a 64-pitch outing against the Tampa Bay Rays that happened back in April of this year. He was pulled after 4 innings in that game, where there was a lengthy weather delay. He said, quote, speaking of Don Kelly, he's the manager, and I don't ever argue with it. Like I said, I understand why, end quote. Skeens fell to 3-4 in his past 9 starts. He has a 5.79 ERA over that stretch in these last 9 starts. His prolonged struggles have had a dip in velocity as well. So his average velocity as we go year to year, in 2024, his 4-seam was 98.8. Then it went to 98.2. It's currently at 96.9. His fastball velocity for his sinker in 2024 was 96.3. It's 90. Then it was 97.6 last year. It's 96.7 this year. The lack of velocity was on display Tuesday in Miami, where Skeens averaged a career low 95.7 miles per hour on his fastball and did not throw a single pitch harder than 97 miles an hour. He induced just 4 misses on 34 swings for a 12% whiff rate, the lowest single game mark of his career. Neither Skeens nor Kelly addressed the drop in velocity, but Skeens did mention some quote-unquote changes in his routine and acknowledged pitch quote-unquote volume as a possible reason for his recent struggles. Quote, I know the innings total isn't super high right now, said Skeens, who has an ERA of 3.88 in 134 and two-thirds innings this season. He said, quote, I think I've probably had more 30 to 35 pitch innings this year than I have probably in the last 2 years combined. So that doesn't help either. It's still volume. Even if it doesn't show up on the innings total, that's probably part of it too, end quote. Don Kelly would say, quote, it's tough. Everybody's going through it. We need to keep grinding and find a way. It's frustrating for everybody. When you're going out there and battling for something, there is different pressure, end quote. So PJ, on the season, in 134 and two-thirds innings, ERA for Skeens, almost 4, 3.88. In his last 9 starts, his ERA is 5.79, and his four-seamer has gone down in velocity every season from 2024 to 25 to now. His sinker was 96.3, then it went up a little bit, and now it's back down. You talk about pitching all the time. What do you think's going on with Skeens?
Well, for what Milwaukee and Los Angeles are doing with Mizorowski and Ohtani, Pittsburgh's not doing with Skeens. This is a travesty. This is a 2-time Cy Young Award winner who knows how to pitch.
Yeah.
He's not a thrower, he's a pitcher. There's no reason to keep this kid going. Shut him down. Where's Pittsburgh going? They're not going anywhere. They're not going to get a wild card. So you just shut him down. No reason to let him go through any more pain. And he's probably going to have a bunch of MRIs done because there's something wrong with him. Now, when you're pitching, people have to understand, just because they throw 103 miles an hour, like Mizorowski with Milwaukee, it doesn't mean you're a good pitcher. Right. You still have to have other pitches. Skeens has a problem with his fastball. We know that, okay? 2-seamer, 4-seamer, doesn't matter. 2-seamer moves left to right. The 4-seamer moves up and down. But on top of that, if you're going to throw that hard for that long in your career, Mizorowski, listen to me, you've got to have some out pitches. Yeah. You've got to have a good sinker. You got to have a changeup, especially. If Mizorowski's throwing 102 and 103 miles an hour, and he throws a 90-mile-an-hour changeup, that's not even fair. Mostly changeups are 85 or less, and the guys are going to wave at it. Skeens has got to get back to pitching, not trying to throw 95 or 98 miles an hour. I think Pittsburgh's doing him wrong. If Pittsburgh wants to plan for the future and build around this kid, they can't throw him out after having earned 2 Cy Young Awards. It's not right. It's not fair. And Skeens is always a ball player. I mean, he's not going to challenge the skippers or the general managers or the owners or anything like that. But the kid doesn't need to pitch anymore this year. That's it in a nutshell, Daniel.
Well, yeah. I mean, you look at
that's Poppy J.
Well, you look at the Pittsburgh Pirates. They are in last place of the National League Central. They're 16 and a half games out of first place in that division, behind Milwaukee, who leads the entire National League, as we mentioned before. And they are still alive in the wild card, 6 games back. But the Pittsburgh Pirates, more than likely, are not going to make the playoffs this season, and they're definitely not going to win their division. So, to PJ's point, if something's wrong with Skeens, why make him keep pitching, knowing that you obviously need him for the future? And I've seen it happen before, and it happens in numerous sports. You don't do something about a problem that may not be as bad right now, and you continue to play them through, and then the problem becomes worse, and then they have to be out longer. I always think of Julio Jones. Ankle injuries, toe injuries, foot injuries, and they would play him and play him and play him for the Atlanta Falcons in the NFL, and then he'd be out for part of the season. He'd be out for this many weeks or that many weeks because they played him on it when he probably should have been off of it early on in the year, and now he's gone. So maybe if you didn't play him in week 2, week 3, week 4, he's not gone for 8 weeks. Maybe if you sat him for the first few weeks, figured out what was going on, and gave his body time to heal, he would be able to play longer. Now I think about Skeens, who, nobody's saying if he's healthy or not healthy, but if things are different, if things aren't working out, something's going on with him. And the last thing I want to hear is, oh, they played Skeens for the rest of the season, no chance of making the playoffs, and now he's got to have this surgery, or now he's got to go through that. He's got to rehab this. Now it's going to take 6 months. Maybe he'll be ready for the start of the season. You got to think about the future, not just the present. To the best of your ability, you live in the now, but you also have to think down the road. You have to think about, what does this mean down the road? And I don't think they're doing that with Paul Skeens right now necessarily, and they're going to have to figure it out.
That's right. Now, when kids grow up to play baseball, even not Little League, but then minor league, not minor league, but American Legion ball, high school ball, most of these kids can sit on fastballs. They got quick enough hands to get around on fastballs. Unless you're a 16-year-old that can throw 95, you're going to get a lot of guys out. But most of the kids know how to hit fastballs. And when they're in the minor league, the same thing. You know how to hit fastballs. What a pitcher needs to do is, to get this guy out, is don't throw him fastballs, throw him off speed stuff to get him out. That's how you pitch. A lot of these kids that come up these days are just throwers. They don't pitch. And Skanes is I think he's being used too much. Now, let's face it. When he's pitching, the Pittsburgh faithful, the fans, want to see him pitch.
Yeah.
They want to see him pitch well. They don't want to see him get bombed. So instead of Pittsburgh having 18,000 people one night, they have 25,000 because Skanes is pitching. Now, if you have Milwaukee and Skanes and Milwaukee and Mizorowski pitching against each other, now you're going to have 40,000 people. But Pittsburgh got to be smart here. If they got the right people in their offices and their sidelines and their pitching coaches, managers, coaches, whatever, the kid's not going anywhere anymore. Sit him down. If you want to let him rust for a month, maybe all right. But if he comes back after a month and he's still not doing it, then you better find out something wrong with him over the off season.
Yeah.
Or if you're the pitching coach, have him come up with some pitches that can get him out, get people out. Not a 95-mile-an-hour fastball that these major leaguers can hit all day long, unless it's 103. So if you're going to do that, you need other pitches.
Well, and again, got to be smart with what you're doing with these guys, because the injuries and the time away and everything that happens with Tommy John, it's just, and you always hope it's not that. You hope it's nothing that's going to be long term, but it's a concern, and it's a concern for the kids. I remember speaking with an orthopedic doctor, and we were having a conversation a few years ago, and he said, Dan, there's an uptick in Tommy John surgery for teenagers, for kids that are like 15 years old. They're having it early, because of the violent motion that you have when you pitch, and the fact that, these kids are out there maybe pitching 100 times in a game. So you look at that as well. Want to let you know before we take
there's one other, Dan, hold on. There's one other pitcher that was put in this situation that we know about. That's Jacob DeGrom when he's pitching for the Mets. Another kid that could light it up 6 figures, three figures, 100, 102, 101. Nasty. What happened to him? He threw his arm out. He had to get Tommy John surgery. So he says, I'll try another team. He on with Texas. Another problem with his arm. He's a good example of what happens when you throw a young man too far and too fast. DeGrom is not the same pitcher he was when he was with the Mets. He's also late in his 30s now, but he still throws well, and he can get guys out, but he hasn't been consistent. And he's the I don't want to see Paul Skeens wind up like Jacob DeGrom.
Yeah, and that's something that you have to look for, right? You have to be ready for the telltale signs of certain things that have already happened. You got to play it smart. So before we take a step aside for a fast break here on Wake Up Call, we haven't taken a step aside in about an hour, and that's because here on my show and in Dan Tortora Broadcast Media in general, we believe in giving you more content. And, I've worked with other places where they said, hey, the intro's not that doesn't belong to you. The outro doesn't belong to you. We're going to play all of our commercials here, and then you got to fit yours in and whatnot. And at the end of it all, you're like, okay, my hour show might be 43 minutes, 37 minutes. That's not how we do it here. We have fast breaks. We have great partners. You're going to hear from them. But I believe in content over anything else, and that you truly get a show every time you listen to the broadcast. So I do want to let people know the worst team in baseball right now is a tie, and it's both in the American League. The Athletics, who, like the White Sox, came out striking early, the White Sox have stayed, and unlike them, the Athletics have looked more like themselves. The Athletics have the worst record in baseball of 30 Major League Baseball teams. And who is right there with them, PJ? The Los Angeles Angels. The second worst team in baseball.
Don't get me started on the Angels now.
Oh, I know.
I don't want to get started on the Angels.
And the second worst team in baseball comes from the National League, the Colorado Rockies. Something in the air in Colorado. The third worst team in baseball, unfortunately for Bobby Witt Jr., the Kansas City Royals, who currently struggle here and are at the bottom of the American League, but still a little bit above the Athletics and the Angels. Good news for the Mets. You're not the worst team in baseball, but the Rockies have struggled recently. The Athletics have struggled recently. The Royals were a playoff caliber team the last 2 years, so they have definitely turned in the wrong direction. And the Los Angeles Angels, the worst team in baseball, featuring one of the greatest hitters of all time. We'll take a step aside for a fast break. When we come back, PJ will get us excited about the NFL season, which comes your way in just a few weeks. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Chris Rauda.
And Colleen Rakowski from Gray's Craze of Clay.
It's a fun, innovative, upscale catering solution. We've turned eating into a whole new experience. Each of our boards is packed with delicious mix of artisan cheeses. We use premium, cured meats, fresh fruits, nuts, and all of the sweet touches that really bring out the best in every perfect bite.
We offer something as small as a grab and go that feeds 1, maybe 2 people, to our large board that can serve anywhere up to 25, 28 people. So we have the ability to really meet and hopefully exceed all of our customers' expectations when it comes to the different varieties of things that we have.
Charcuterie boards or boxes are healthy, fresh, delicious. They're made to order. We're baking the breads here daily. We're baking the cookies here daily. All of our dips are homemade, made in-house. All of our spreads are all made in-house.
When you open that board or box that we have delivered or you have picked up, we want you to know that it was made with care and designed to completely elevate your event, celebration, or meeting.
We've catered parties and events for up to 300 people. So if you're walking in to grab something for lunch or something for date night or movie night, that's great too. Our events go from you eating in the car on the way home to a catering event in a rehearsal dinner or cocktail hour or party.
When we do, again, know what the event is, specifically for a wedding, we like to schedule tastings so the bride and groom can come in and see what we have to offer, and we can then, as we talk, to try to understand what they're looking for, what the venue's like. We do like to have that one-on-one interaction when it comes to catering bigger events.
Our address is 4599 State Route 31, Suite 5 in Clay, New York. We're on the corner of Route 31 and Henry Clay at Clay Marketplace.
You can order on the phone by calling area code 315-409-4171 or online at grayscraze.com/clay-ny. Come visit us at Gray's Craze of Clay, New York,
where we want you to celebrate everything.
Hey everybody, this is Rocky Roberts from Willow Rock Brewing Company. We are here in Cicero at the Willow Rock Pizza Pub.
And I'm Kevin Williams, also from Willow Rock Brewing Company. Happy to be here and happy to be partnering with CNS and Dan Tortora.
You want some place where you can feel comfortable and hopefully ingratiate yourself with the community. And Kevin, he grew up right down the road from here. I grew up in Brewerton, so not too far away. We know the area, we know the people, they're great, and we were just really excited to be able to come to the area.
Yeah, and having the opportunity to meet some of these coaches, some of the people in general already, and seeing the CNS colors kind of around, and already partnering on a smaller level with individual teams really made this make sense to us to really formalize kind of a partnership partnership with the school and get this rolling.
Willow Rock to me has always been about high quality beverages, high quality experiences, and now high quality food at our pizza pub. That was something new for us when we came to Cicero. Right from the drop, we knew we were going to have a focus on the highest quality food to go with our high quality beer. At the Willow Rock Pizza Pub, you're getting high quality, hand cut, top notch ingredients. We're open for lunch. That's a really important thing for us, is to be able to get that person in here like, hey, you only got 30 minutes for lunch, but we're going to have something for you that you can get quickly and available to everybody.
Yeah, we wanted something that was just a little bit outside the box, a little bit outside of comfort zone, but still something that you could rely on to be consistent and easy to look at and easy to be like, oh, I can see myself eating this. I can see myself wanting to have that more than once. Eating a whole pizza like our beef on wet pizza, I've never seen one anywhere. It's just a great ideas, great inspiration across the board. We're their spot to stop. We're their friendly neighborhood watering hole, as well as pizza place and place to stop for a restaurant. Not just beer drinkers here. We've got wines, we've got cocktails, we got non-alcoholic stuff for the kids.
The location is more important today than it ever has been before, and we're lucky enough to be here in Cicero. The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is a place where you can bring your family. You can come in, you can grab a soda, you can relax. You can come after a game, before a game, your parents, your grandparents. Our goal is to make sure that everyone's comfortable here. We want students, we want athletes, we want your coaches. It's going to be a good time. So come here, enjoy the high quality food, high quality beverage that we're going to offer to everybody. And hey, go North Stars.
We're so happy to have the North Stars. We are very much a kid-friendly establishment. We have tons of space outside for everybody to be playing outside, as well as listening to live music, enjoying some pizza.
The Willow Rock Pizza Pub is open 6 days a week here in Cicero. That is Tuesday through Sunday. And our website is willowrockbrew.com, and our socials are at Willow Rock Brew. So find us on the net, find us in person. We'll see you soon.
And welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Great Lakes Honda City coming to you on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. We have just a few minutes left with Papa Joe. So PJ, the NFL season is going to be here sooner than we may even think that it's going to be here, but it's going to be here very quick. And we know that the NFL is already in its preseason. We've already seen the Hall of Fame game, which was a nail biter, which made things really fun. Seeing the Panthers going up against the Cardinals and the Panthers winning by a field goal on a rushing touchdown by a quarterback that I covered in college and interviewed, and that's Georgia Tech alum Haynes King, who said one of the greatest lines I've ever heard, where he was talking about the rivalry with Georgia, and he looked at the room, he leaned into the mic, and he said, "And it's to hell with Georgia." So had some fun with it there. So PJ, the NFL's coming up. We know that we will have these teams in action very, very soon, but they're already in action at training camp and in the preseason. Your thoughts on the NFL and the excitement of the 26-27 season?
Well, I don't really have a lot to say, except I do follow the Jaguars, obviously. And I just happened to be, when I was surfing the net yesterday, I decided to pull up their depth chart.
Yeah.
Like, this down here, folks, in the summertime is brutal. I mean, we have 100-degree days with a 90% humidity. It is brutal. For these guys to go through 2 a day here, it's tough. And the Jaguars, at least they have an indoor facility. I'm not sure what Tampa does, but it's hard. It's hard. I mean, if the guys are looking to lose weight, they can do that. I'm just curious to find out how this is going to shake out with the Jaguars and their offense. Defense did a pretty good job last year. Real good job, really.
Yeah.
And the offense with Trevor Lawrence started to come around a lot. I thought he had his best year last year. He's got some giant guys to throw to. And I think that's where I want to talk about. Besides Parker Washington, we have Josh Cameron and Austin Trammell. And there's someone else. Oh, yeah. Trevor Pena and Michael Workman. Those, I think, I got the wrong screen, Daniel.
No.
I don't like this screen.
No, you got it.
I don't like this screen.
So what I did was I sent Papa Joe the unofficial depth chart. Parker Washington, Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr., the main guys. Travis Hunter, who's a two-way player. C.J. Williams, who they brought in. Josh Cameron. And then you have guys like Chandler Brayboy, Austin Trammell, Michael Wortham, and then Syracuse and Penn State alum Trevor Pena, who rejoins his former teammate from Syracuse, LaQuint Allen Jr., who's in his second season at running back. So that's what your wide receivers look like. Your main players, Parker Washington, Jacoby Myers, Brian Thomas Jr., and then, of course, Travis Hunter, where he's going to end up here. Tim Jones, who's done some good things. Brady Boyd. They got a bunch of guys here, but interesting that they have another former Syracuse player in Trevor Pena.
Sorry about that screen.
No, you're good.
But anyway, when you look at Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter across from each other, there's some serious speed burners right there. Thomas, I didn't think played his best football last year. Travis Hunter, they're still messing around with. I don't know if they're going to keep him on the field more on defense or offense. Parker Washington certainly came into his own last year. Jacoby Myers is another guy that is a good slot receiver. I think the Jaguars, the running attack will be fair, but I think the Jaguars are going to be dimping and ditzing and dumping and all over the place with the wide receivers. I think the Jaguars' strength is going to be how long the offense can stay on the field with this little dinky dunk and passing and going downfield, see if they can get some touchdowns. That's what I'm seeing, and that's what I'm hearing. I would love to see Brian Thomas run out or Travis Hunter burn a defensive back. But and with Lawrence's arm, he should be able to do that. But they're not consistent enough for what I'm reading about. Maybe they're not showing enough, which is that's true too. But they have the wide receivers, they got the quarterback to do it. The offensive line, of course, is always a question in football. But I'd love to see Travis Hunter on offense this year a little bit more. I know he's a shutdown corner, but it's beside the point. You know, the Jaguars have the weapons, Daniel, this year. They need to put it all together.
Yeah, they definitely are putting together with Bajal Tootin, with a Quint Allen. They brought in Chris Rodriguez Jr. from the Washington Commanders. We'll see what that looks like. But it always comes down to their offensive line. Walker Little's played guard and tackle. He's now right tackle. And then Patrick McCarry is right guard. Robert Hainsey, that they brought in recent history, is their center. Ezra Cleveland, who's played all over the place, is now at left guard. Anton Harrison, who is the right tackle, is now the left tackle. So we'll see how that works as we step forward. And defensive ends, Josh Hines Allen, Trayvon Walker, the hybrid players, and their linebackers now being Foye Oluwakin, Dennis Gardeck, and then either Ventrell Miller or Brandon Combs. Some, the household name is Oluwakin. The other guys still looking to see what they can do. We'll talk about it more and we'll break it down in the coming weeks. PJ, as always, I appreciate the time. I look forward to talking with you soon. God bless to you and MT and that cat, Miss Marissa, and of course to my big brother Joey and the family. I'll talk with you soon.
All right, thank you. Bye-bye.
See you, PJ. That coming from Papa Joe one more time here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports truly meets that thing called life. We're going to jump right into our conversation with OnTECH after this fast break inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Stay with us.
Hi, this is Gina Husted. I'm part owner of Skippy's Ice Cream. The other half is my better half, Don Husted Jr. When somebody comes up to the truck and it's a family, it's nice that the older generation is nostalgic and they can tell the younger generation, back in my day, we used to have the truck around our neighborhood. So now you're lucky because the truck can come to your party, and you're lucky that this truck is at a festival and you're getting to buy the ice cream. And basically we're ice cream that comes to you now, specifically comes to you, not for you waiting for us, we're coming to you. We will do neighborhoods if you have a block party. We do birthdays, we do anniversaries, parties, we do celebrations of life, we do wedding showers, we do festivals, we'll do corporate events, we have a lot of corporate picnics, we have family reunions, so it's a whole wide range of whatever party you have, we'd love to be at. We're so appreciative of the community, always coming up to us at festivals and calling us to have different events. We have a lot of return customers. We always have people coming up to our truck. We're always there for the community. We always try to give back to different organizations and fundraisers, and so I think the community sees that. We like to give back to them. This is where we live. This is where we were raised. This is where our kids were raised. So the community is very special to us. I mean, obviously we've lived here our whole lives, so it means a lot that they come up to our truck and that they choose us, because we're just there to please the community and deal with as many people as we can in this community, because this is, like I said, where we were born and raised. If you'd like to get in touch with Skippy's Ice Cream and have us at your next event, I would suggest using our email, skipthecake, skipthecake, skipthecake@gmail.com. That's the fastest way to get a hold of us. It's the easiest way to get a hold of us, and that's going to get the fastest response from us. If you choose to call, if you don't have an email, then you can call 315-456-9750, and we'll be glad to get back to you as soon as we can. Skippy's Ice Cream, the original ice cream truck.
In these unique times, there are those in our community that give us a sense of normalcy and positivity. Pizza Man on 50 Oswego Street in Baldwinsville has been here for you for over 35 years and is here now. Call 315-638-1234 or order online at pizzamanbville.com to bring those familiar tastes into your home. And remember to come see our monthly on-site broadcasts centered around the community and our Baldwinsville Bees. Pizza Man in Baldwinsville. Any way you slice it, they are always here for you. Life gets busy, and sometimes that means us running around. So Canine Camp Dog Daycare offers you an opportunity to give your dog a place to stay while you take care of what you need to throughout the day. Canine Camp Dog Daycare is located on 228 Old Bridge Street in East Syracuse, New York. You can see it from the highway, and it's just off of Erie Boulevard across from BJ's Wholesale Club. Call 315-437-7110. That's 315-437-7110 to schedule an appointment to bring your dog in and tour the facility. Appointments are Monday through Thursday after 6:30, where you and your dog can see everything that Canine Camp Dog Daycare has to offer, including a self-serve dog wash and a retail store filled with all of your dog's wants and needs, including food, treats, harnesses, leashes, and more, making Canine Camp Dog Daycare your one-stop shop for your furry loving friend. Right, Lily? And a welcome back here to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios. Happy to be here with you inside these Great Lakes Honda City Studios Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Time, where sports truly meets that thing called life. It is an honor and a privilege to have the partnerships that we have here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, and we just began a new one, which I am very much excited about, looking forward to. So as we are here with you this morning, I would love to say once again, in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with OnTECH Charter High School, that we are making history in this community. In Central and Upstate New York, no high school is signing a partnership quite like this, and what we're doing nationally with colleges, universities, conferences in their entirety, as well as high school, it is something truly that I appreciate, I'm humbled by, and I love making history here in our community and beyond. So with that being said, Wolfpack Mentality is part of our partnership with OnTECH Charter High School here in Syracuse, in my hometown, and it will feature a weekly conversation with a student athlete, a coach, as well as administration, and potentially down the road, alumni as well, Wolfpack Mentality has its inaugural episode today with Heaven Lewis. And Heaven is here with us, the OnTECH Charter High School girls flag football head coach. Her and I who were speaking yesterday at the fair at OnTECH Charter High School, and now we get to speak with you. Heaven, how are you?
I'm good, Dan. How are you?
I'm doing very well. And Heaven, first and foremost, I kind of alluded to this yesterday, but to have the inaugural episode with OnTECH Charter High School in this Wolfpack Mentality piece of our partnership, when you start with Heaven, where do you go from Heaven is what I would say. So where did the name, did your family tell you like why they chose to truly go forward and say, we're going to name our daughter Heaven?
Yeah, my mom and dad both had like very popular names, Laura and Drew, and didn't really like that growing up of being one of many in their class. So my name is Heaven, and then all of my little sisters are all like Dream, Nasia, Sky. So we're all different.
So to have the unique name, how have you embraced, when you walk up to someone and they say, what's your name? And you say Heaven. I mean, I've been on this planet for 40 plus years of my life, and I've never met anybody named Heaven before. So what is that exchange like when they say, oh, I'm Bob, what's your name? And you say Heaven.
Yeah, I mean, I get the same type of questions of like, oh, how did your parents come up with that? Same sort of reactions when I say like my sister's names and things like that.
Yeah.
I like it because it helps people remember who I am. And I feel like I am very personable and I like to get to know people. So it's nice that they can put a name to the face that is easier to remember.
So that's your name, but who you choose to be, your personality. How would you describe that? Every coach has their own way about them, their own leadership style. How would you describe yours? I am a full-time teacher at OnTECH Charter High School as well. And my mentality is just that it's the students first. The concept of them being kids and, not needing as many explanations or as much understanding because, they're kids and we've all been through that. And, we did this and we did that, and just understanding that they are people and treating them as such, I think is the biggest concern for me. Well, and like you said, I mean, treating them as people, society has, I'm going to say, gotten interesting over the years, right? And teaching has gotten interesting as well. How have you navigated the changes in our culture? I mean, I didn't grow up with social media. I didn't have if somebody got bullied in school, it stopped at 2:30, 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
It didn't start up again until the next day. If that person decided to continue to be a disrespectful human being, it's not that we didn't have social media where things can continue. Things are instantaneous. There was not this exposure to this information. Kids were not constantly being inundated by videos and opinions and all this stuff. And how do you navigate that as a teacher now, the social media aspect and the fact that these kids that are in your classroom are getting hit with news that is factual, not factual, pretty much all hours of the day?
I think the biggest thing for me and what I really love about OnTECH is our ability to collaborate with each other and to build relationships with our students so that we are very aware of the things that are going on outside of school. They feel comfortable and trust us enough to let us know that those things are happening so that we can have those restorative conversations between students. We can work on building, the self-confidence, which leads to a big concern for social media. Kids want the validation, they want the attention, the instant gratification that they get from social media. So incorporating things both in the school day and even in coaching that helps them build those skills for themselves makes it easier for them to, avoid the outside things, even if, we're all human. As adults, we do it too. So
as a teacher, like you said, being a full-time teacher and not just a coach, how do you personally try to help these kids navigate the instant gratification and the, being inundated with information. How do you specifically try to aid a student from, kind of getting lost in the, I got to get likes, like essentially the outside of themselves, right? I'm going to validate myself by what's outside instead of loving myself inside. How do you help them to do the opposite and and love themselves from the inside out instead of relying on social media?
In the classroom, that is, before the New York State had the cell phone ban, OnTECH was, taking phones during the school day, which was super helpful because they then, were more engaged in the classroom and are still more engaged in the classroom. But I think the biggest part of it is having the open communication with students. And it goes back to treating them as people and being real with them. And whether I am, speaking to you or I'm speaking to administration or parents or students, like they are fully aware that when they talk to me, what you see is what you get. There's no hidden agenda. There's nothing to it. And I, have no problem saying like, yeah, when I was in high school, I struggled with some of these same things. Like I was susceptible to social media, and just letting them hear the realness of it instead of just, oh, don't do this, don't do that. But like, real life stories of how other people have gotten through it, and, tips and tricks that are helpful, like, doing something else at bedtime, putting your phone away, finding something that works for you as some sort of self-care to take care of yourself, finding something that you're grateful for in every day, all of those little things that, we try to build in and instill in them. And sometimes you don't think that it's clicking. And then one day you'll hear them say it to somebody else in passing, and you're like, oh, I did get through.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, just letting them know that there's other avenues and meeting them where they're at, right? And speaking with them about what you've experienced yourself being a helpful thing. You kind of led me into it when you said you don't know if it's getting through, and then all of a sudden you hear them say it to somebody else. Is that the most rewarding thing you've had as a teacher, or is there something else you can point to say that this thing was the most rewarding part of my job up to this point?
I think the most rewarding part of my job is, it's definitely nice when I hear them, utilizing the strategies that we talk about and implementing them, or even teaching them to other people. But I think seeing the shift in their self-confidence, in their ability to see a future for themselves is the biggest reward for me, because, so many of our kids, in this area, in this generation, that struggle with a lot of different things. And being somebody that they trust and open up to talk about those things, finding resources to support them, and then seeing them do things like graduate high school when they didn't think that they were going to make it to that point and were just ready to drop out and get a GED, or just, do something that is not good for them.
Yeah, I mean, and OnTECH, from everything that I've understood up to this point, it's to provide an opportunity, to provide an avenue, to let, these kids know you're not forgotten, you're not overlooked, you should have an opportunity like anybody else. Kids are coming from all different walks of life, amounts of money. It's a little bit of everything. And the beauty of OnTECH that I love is that it functions in this public-private type of feel to it. Public in the fact that anybody can come, but private also in that fact too. There's no districts. So they're not paying this crazy amount of money to come to this charter school, but at the same time, they're welcome from anywhere. And typically in our community, if you want to come from any district, you have to go to a private, you have to pay, college tuition in order to get into this high school. What can you say about this hybrid world of we accept everybody from all backgrounds, we're not district, and it's not breaking their bank account? I mean, this OnTECH charter high school truly is standing on its own as a very unique entity in Central New York.
I completely agree with you with that concept. I grew up in Binghamton, so charter schools, I didn't even know what they were until I came to SU for college. And it was a whole new world for me. And I have worked in other charter schools that, are for profit compared to here where it's the phrase that I've said recently is like, it is all about student voice and student choice. Being able for them to feel like they are heard, that they fit in, that they have a say in their education. And it's not just, you have to do this, 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 and this. It's, oh, like, I'm really interested in doing this and I want to explore it before I go to college. Okay, let's figure out how we make that an elective. I really want to play this sport that we don't have. Okay, let's figure out how we make it happen here. And everybody here is so focused on the kids and doing right by them and adaptable, which I feel like isn't the case in, a public school where they have a lot of other like, red tape that they have to go through. And having, a founder like Ellen that is just so open to all of the things that kids want and need just makes it easier for us to do our job.
I mean, it seems like, and in the short time that I've been around OnTECH over these last few months of building this partnership and discussing it and then coming on campus and getting to meet some of the students, meeting more of the students yesterday, meeting the staff and whatnot. I mean, your experience of this overall, Heaven, how would you describe it? Because like you said, you're like growing up in Binghamton, I didn't know what a charter school was. Me neither. You know what I mean? Like I went to Christian Brothers Academy, and by the time I was leaving CBA, my parents were essentially paying a college tuition. It was, I mean, I got a great education, but I'm going to be real about this. Not many families can afford that. And, I'm a blue collar kid. My parents fought for every dollar they had. There was no trust fund. There was no, daddy gave me money. Like, I mean, so to me, I got this education that was phenomenal, but we didn't go the public route. We went the private route, but it breaks your bank account in a lot of ways. So now that you're experiencing what a charter high school is, what OnTECH is, if you were out in the community describing it to somebody, what would you say?
I would describe OnTECH as like, we use this phrase a lot, a third space. It is a place that, kids have their home, they have their sports organization outside of school, all of these things, but this is a place where kids can come and actually be kids. And I feel like in this generation that is lost. And with all of, the violence and things that kids see in Syracuse especially, they don't always get the opportunity to just be their age and to have fun with friends and to, get lost in a book, reading in class, and to have conversations with people that, are more at their level, like where they should be mentally, instead of this, having to grow up too soon and having all these responsibilities. Like yesterday is a great example of that. Just seeing our kids outside of the festival, playing with sidewalk chalk, getting their face painted, playing games outside. Like, it is just like, it's so rewarding to see that side of them and know that like that youth and, excitement is still there and we can tap into that.
Well, and, it brings me back, Heaven, I mean, with everything they have now and with all the digital world and the technology world that is, pushed upon these kids to live in at a very, very, very young age, seeing, I still can't like unsee a 3-year-old at Disney that's trying to get their mom's attention and she just hands them an iPad. Like I can't unsee that. So yesterday when I'm seeing these kids at OnTECH, I'm seeing these students, like you said, sitting on the ground with chalk, creating things. I mean, somebody drew Sonic the Hedgehog. I knew who he was immediately when I saw it. Like, I mean, that to having kids there talking about recycling and going around the community and cleaning up Syracuse and what they found and what they did. I mean, OnTECH is not just giving them an opportunity to be in the community, be away from their phones and actually, integrate and connect with each other, but they're teaching them things that this world desperately needs. Care for the community, cleaning things up, taking responsibility. And then, like you said, just being kids, making an oyster shell necklace, going and playing with chalk, grabbing some ice cream from Skippy's that came in. Like, it made me in 2026 feel like these kids were acting like I did in 1992. And I'm grateful that OnTECH is providing these opportunities for, like you said, for kids to simply be kids. There was no TV, no technology, no anything yesterday. It was literally everybody outside playing, laughing, and spending time with each other. And you just saw kids in circles over here and circles, just talking, eating ice cream and creating, which I think is such a beautiful thing. And honestly, it's timeless. So I'm happy you brought it up.
Yeah, I mean, the building community is so big here that like it's nice to see it in those moments, but we see it in little moments all the time. Even just, the name of the segment of Wolfpack Mentality, like it's on our shirts for flag football. That was our slogan for the season. Like Wolfpack Mentality, no lone wolves. Just the concept of, we are all in this together. And, I don't expect everybody who, comes into my classroom or is on my team to be best friends, but the art of being able to work in conjunction with people and, have healthy relationships and communication and problem solving skills are just so important for these kids to learn and experience before they go out into the real world.
Yeah.
And, we create that space for them to do that and practice it in so many ways here.
Yeah. And it's heartwarming. It literally made me feel like I was in my grandma's neighborhood. Like it was so cool to see that. So Heaven, how did you end up at OnTECH? Bring me into the dominoes that fell that brought you there.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like every time I tell the story, people are shocked. I went to Oneonta for my bachelor's for psychology. I was convinced that like I wanted to go into therapy and things like that. Decided very early on that sitting behind a desk all day just did not work for who I was as a person. I needed to, be up and moving. So I ended up switching into early childhood special education. And I worked in early intervention for a few years, pushing into kids' houses with kids before they even got into the school age. And then I ended up applying for a classroom position and got thrown into fourth grade, which was way older than I ever thought.
Yeah.
And, I fell in love with teaching the older kids and kind of moved up with them. And then my cousin was working at OnTECH and was like, you should really come try this place out. It is very different than where you are right now. And I fell in love with it. I never thought I'd be teaching high school.
And so, I mean, like you said, studying psychology, thinking that's where you're going to go into the therapy world.
Mm-hmm.
Do you bring some of the tools from that toolbox into being a teacher?
Oh, absolutely. I feel like, being able to have those, regulation skills and even just being able to identify their own is really big for these kids to know and understand. So, any of those tips and tricks that I can incorporate, I certainly do.
You said being able to identify their wounds. That is such a profound statement and valuable. It kind of puts me at a loss for words because it's a perfect way to say it. Right. And I think there's adults all across this world that still haven't identified their wounds. So, to that point of it, how do you integrate that into your daily teaching of the identifying of someone's wound, helping them to see essentially the trunk, you're right, where it's coming from, and then giving them opportunities, a path to heal themselves? How do you integrate that into your daily teaching?
I spend time every day talking to my kids about their lives outside of the classroom, and they know that with me, if they need the extra support, if there's something that they're not understanding, if they're having an off day where, they truly just, they can't get through the work, they know that they can be open and honest about that with me and that we can work through that. But having a safe and open space where they don't feel the need to have to, put on an act or perform and do all of these things that they have to do outside of here. Just it allows them to see things in themselves, to recognize their emotions, to see kind of where things are coming from, and having conversations with other students and trying to foster those sort of relationships and friendships without saying, oh yeah, this kid's going through the same thing, but saying like, what, like you guys have a lot in common, like why don't you partner up for this activity? And just trying to facilitate in that way.
Kevin Lewis here with us this morning, having a wonderful conversation in the inaugural episode of Wolfpack Mentality, featuring the Gray Wolves of OnTECH Charter High School in Syracuse and our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership. Before we even get to flag football, Kevin, we've talked about you being a teacher, but what specific subject are you bringing to these students?
Right now I teach math, which is definitely not, everybody's favorite subject, and I get a lot of pushback. But, just going back to like student voice, student choice here at OnTECH, a big thing that we noticed is that those core mathematical skills that students need to be able to do in their daily life, outside of just having to pass, a Regents class, was lacking. So this past school year, we incorporated, a consumer mathematics class where we worked on things like, how do you read a pay stub? How do you understand the taxes that are being taken out of your check? How do you budget that money? Comparing cost of living in different places, because, not everybody is going to stay in Syracuse, understanding what interest rates on loans are, all of the things that, oftentimes we just kind of get thrown into once we're out of school without the background information and knowledge. But it was good to see kids that, came into my class saying, because I give them a pre-survey and a post-survey at the end of the year, just to see like, how do we feel about math in general? What kind of things do we think are a strength? And seeing their reflections at the end of the year, some kids who were convinced that they, I can't do math. I'm not good at math. I don't understand this. Be some of my best students in class, raising their hand, helping other people it's powerful when, you can frame the curriculum in a way that connects to students.
Yeah, and I think, and I love what you said, because I think back on learning math as a kid, and it's like, yeah, add, subtract, multiply, divide. I need that to balance my bank account, to understand, money and whatnot. But then I think about the Texas Instrument calculator and calculus and X plus Y equals 3. And I'm like, still haven't used it. So, there's all these things that I think we don't teach when it comes to math. I would have loved to learn more about the stock market and investment. I would have loved to learn more about percentages and mortgage rates, like you said. So I think, OnTECH actually not just teaching math, but saying, let's teach this subject, but then let's show them where they're going to use it in their daily life, in their adulthood. Let's show them how this is going to affect them on a daily level, because simply saying, I don't like the subject, I'm not good at it, I don't understand it, but then they're all going to have to use it at some point. So I think showing them how it shows up in their daily life makes it something that's more of a necessity and more of something that, I got to have this be a part of it so I know what I'm doing, as opposed to it's just a subject in school. So I love the take that OnTECH has and that you have on it, because you're showing them, whether you like math or not coming in, this is a skill that you're going to need at some point. You're going to have to figure it out. So I think showing them that it is a necessary tool in life hopefully helps you bridge the gap.
Absolutely. And we just incorporate a lot of, project-based learning. One of my classes did, a business and entrepreneurship unit where they had to, I showed them, the show Shark Tank. We talked about business pitches and coming up with all of these ideas. So they had to figure out, their costs and expenses for, starting. They had to come up with their own business idea. They had to find the break-even point. At what point are you, losing money until you sell a certain number of items? And then what point do you actually start profiting? They had to put that on a graph so that they could see it themselves. They had to present it Shark Tank style to their peers, where they're, offering, I'll give you your $10,000 with this amount of, interest, or you have to pay me back this in royalties. And they're using all of these words that, you wouldn't expect. And they're just having so much fun doing it and also learning along the way.
I feel like I want to go back to school if you're teaching Shark Tank. So I think I have to consider it. I don't know if I have more time I can give. But let's go to the other side of your life, which is girls flag football. This is a sport that a little over 3 years ago finally came to Central New York. And it's been a long time coming. Girls flag football, women's flag football has shot up the charts. The stock is rising, so to speak, and I love it. earlier this week, I spoke with the first ever, the inaugural Binghamton University head coach for women's flag football, as it Division I athletics at the NCAA level is now welcoming it as a sponsored sport. So it's interesting how just a couple days ago, I'm talking to history in the making of women's flag football at D1, and 2 days later, I'm talking to a Binghamton native after talking with Binghamton about girls flag football in our community of Central New York, which is still rather a new thing that's going into, I believe, its fourth season in a lot of these schools, and some schools its second or third season as they look to integrate it. What does it mean to you to be a flag football coach and on the bigger scale to see it growing nationally and to see the respect that it's receiving?
It is very exciting for me. Growing up, I did like powder puff is what we called it, which was, the girls' version of being outside and playing football. We did it in college. I have a lot of boy cousins would play football outside, but seeing something, where these girls can showcase different athletic abilities than, the sports that they are typically used to, is huge. And the fact that it is growing so quickly, being officially recognized in January for, college athletics, the opportunities that they can get scholarships to go do this, that they can play in college, that, there's just so many doors that open up for them with this, that I love to see the growth in, the Olympics. There's just so much to it.
What brought you into becoming a head coach? I mean, I know you said you played growing up, you played the sport and you got out there on the football field yourself, but how did you said you never saw yourself being a teacher. Did you ever see yourself being a coach? And you're shaking your head no. So bring me into that as well as, how OnTECH and you crossed the path there to say, I'm not just going to be a teacher, I'm going to lead this program.
Absolutely. So I, growing up, did like cheer, volleyball, all of those sorts of things. So I probably could have seen myself going into coaching one of those. But when, our athletic director, Mr. Bidwell, came and said, hey, like, we're starting this program, the Buffalo Bills you're giving all of these grants in support of the schools in the area. USA Football is donating all of these things. Like, we have all of what we need to start this. I was definitely nervous. Designing playbooks, all of those sorts of things were super outside of my comfort zone, but the idea to, foster these relationships with girls, give them an outlet that, is so very needed for them.
Yeah.
And to be able to play a sport, outside of the typical thing was really exciting for me. And I love a challenge. And I had, my cousin, Mr. Buckland, was working here. My assistant coach, Nashawn Stenson, has been with me for the past 2 years. So, having good people by my side that, have the same philosophies that I do, that are willing to put in the work and build these relationships with the girls. And, it's hard. We're a smaller school competing against some really big schools because there's only so many teams. So, we've got to play with teams like, a Syracuse East and Baldwinsville and schools that typically, in other sports we wouldn't play because we're not in the same class. But watching them go out there and play their hearts out and have fun doing it and, come back wanting more and to learn more, and watching film has just been wonderful to see.
Well, like you said, I mean, when you look at this and, the facts of having to play these bigger schools and, the divisions and whatnot of Section 3, and I mean, how do you kind of fit into all of this? Because as we talked about before, OnTECH is so unique. So when they kind of told you, hey, this is the class you're going to be in and whatnot, how did that come about? Like, what are your thoughts about kind of where you are in Section 3? And, did they describe to you, like, this is why you're positioned here, this is why you're going to be there, because you are such a unique school when you're trying to see where this flag football program is going to be as far as in what part of Section 3? How did that all come about, and how did they describe to you where to put such a unique place?
So it's pretty similar to other sports where they do go off of like the beds numbers from school or the enrollment numbers. So we are in Class C with some of the other smaller schools like Sherburne, Westmoreland, schools that, aren't in the direct Syracuse area, but, have similar enrollment numbers. But again, because last year it was 3 teams in Class C, this year it was 5. That's not enough games for us to play, so we have to play outside of our class. And it was last year we played everybody, which was daunting sometimes because we were fully aware that they have a much bigger team. They started playing a year before us, so I think just going into it and building that confidence with the girls of everything is a learning experience. Everybody has a role to play no matter what we're doing or where you are. And really building the team culture has helped them, play outside of our typical class and still do it with grace.
Yeah, and like you said, I mean, you got to go, and you said last year we played everybody. I mean, there's adversity breeds opportunity. What do you think last season did for your girls, for who's coming back, as well as maybe to show other people to get involved?
I think the way that they advocate for themselves and the team, speaks volumes between just our first year and our second year. The girls, obviously I'm going and talking to people and saying like, oh, you should come to open gyms. You should come try it. Like, just try it and see, where it goes. But because they have relationships with so many other people and they can talk about, their positive experiences of working with, myself and my assistant coach, Nashawn, being able to experience playing on these fields that are so different than, what they're used to, really helps them buy in. And they want to learn. They're always excited for the challenge and the opportunity themselves. And, I think being the underdog gives us more of a push and drive to work for it.
Well, and I love it because something's growing at OnTECH, and that's the excitement of it, is getting to see the fruits of the labor, which will come. And so for you as a coach, how would you describe that side of you? I came to one of your practices. I got to watch the girls run some plays and do their thing, and got to see you there with your staff and got to see them go out and have some fun. What can you say about what's to come here in 2027 as we look ahead from what you've seen in practice, what you've experienced? Like, first and foremost, what type of coach are you? Like, how you would describe yourself as a coach? And then secondly, what can you tell us about OnTECH moving forward with this flag? Because I'm excited. I mean, I can just go right back to the practice in my brain, and I got to tell you this, Heaven, you and I had like met for a half a millisecond, and I love football, and I played flag football against my listeners before we started a league. It was hard for me to watch them. Like, I don't know if you ever, like, if you looked over at all and watched my body or my feet, but I kept stopping myself from moving forward because I wanted to go play with them.
Yeah. With the next year coming, I think that, every year we've learned something and we are growing. Like I said, playbooks weren't something that was a strength for me, and every year we're building and adapting on those. The biggest thing for me is the partnerships with the girls, that they can see things on the field that, I don't always recognize. And then they can come over and say, hey, coach, like, can we try this? And having that trusting relationship and open communication where they feel comfortable enough to advocate for those sort of things is really important. But even just, the recognition of a school who, hasn't gone out and won all of these games on a national level with, the Bills team, and just seeing that there are so many things that, we can be seen and known for, even if, the scoreboard doesn't reflect it. I had girls who were seniors this year that were like, you know what, it's my senior year, I want to play a sport. They tried it out, and she's top 5 defenders in all of Section 3, even against the other schools. And she didn't think that she just wanted to be part of the team. She didn't plan on playing as much as she did, or, being as involved in it as she was. But I think seeing them surprise themselves, and, sometimes in sports where kids, have played it for a long time in football, basketball, they have those positions in mind and like they have these things that they want to do and kind of get stuck in that. The girls really trust us to, try different combinations of things to figure out what works and then, really thrive in those roles.
Well, I can't wait for the upcoming season, and definitely am looking forward to see what OnTECH is going to do. We're going to play some rapid fire here in this inaugural episode of Wolfpack Mentality, one of the pieces that put together the exclusive multimedia marketing partnership between Dan Tortora Broadcast Media, our program Wake Up Call, and OnTECH Charter High School here in Syracuse, New York, the first of its kind in our community, and I thank OnTECH for trusting me with this. Heaven, we're going to play some rapid fire. Any topic, any question, we're going to go back and forth. You'll ask the first question, then I'll go. But you can ask any subject, doesn't have to be sports, whatever you want. We have to answer the question. What's your first question?
Oh, I love that. Okay. So I want to know what drove you into podcasting. This is such a cool, like, different realm.
Yeah, so it's funny because every time somebody says what like brings you into podcasting, my response is broadcasting is broadcasting. I learned radio at college 2 weeks in. I helped them with television as well. I was the television station manager. I think I was the only television station manager at Marywood University to ever be the station manager 2 years in a row, because they typically would change every year. And so, I painted sets, set up the sets, set up the camera angles, taught myself how to do a ticker. My teachers didn't even know how to run the actual moving words on the screen. I taught myself how to do that, directed, produced, set up the graphics, helped them to put the score on for the first time ever. I was the one under the bleachers setting up all the equipment. I'm in my suit with the dust, making sure the wires are connected properly, troubleshooting everything. So, I've seen all aspects of this. And so to me, a microphone's a microphone, a camera's a camera, and however you get to do it, you do it. I jumped into the world of podcasting, internet streaming, way before it was cool. I left traditional radio. I was considered crazy for doing it. I got asked for 2 years when I was going back. When am I going to truly make it? Why am I not on ESPN, which I was on 3 ESPN affiliates in 3 different states. So there were these questions of like, what are you doing? Like, nobody's doing this. I don't think anybody was podcasting in Syracuse when I started, not at a professional level, and nobody in sports. Syracuse had never credentialed anybody on the internet at the time. They made me wait 2.5 years for a credential. I had to prove myself. And then I was essentially the guinea pig. I was the first Syracuse football and Syracuse men's basketball credential given to an internet-based company that was non-pre-existing. And so that, I made history at SU. This entire run for me of 22 plus years and 14 plus of doing it on my own after working with ESPN, Fox, and Yahoo is, it's my life. This is how God has always treated me. He said, here's the easy road. Here's the road that's already paved. You're the creator of the road. You're the person who's going to cut down the trees, who's going to lay the foundation, who's going to put the cement down, and you're going to make sure that the lines are ready so that people can drive on this road. I got into this wanting to be on SportsCenter. I got to do Dream Job down in Florida, which was like a mini sports center. Al Jaffe was there, who hired and fired for ESPN. He was one of my judges. 2 NFL players were my judges, Vernon Davis and Charles Tillman. I won it. And, that was a show that was on TV at the time. And this was a smaller version of it to people all around the world coming to Disney. So I wanted to sit behind the desk. I got to sit behind the desk. And ultimately, I chose to create my own desk and sit behind a desk with my name on it. So how did I get into it? I'm a passionate person who loves to tell stories, loves sports, has a photographic memory, and wants to show people that they matter and that they're seen. Why am I doing what I'm doing the way I'm doing it? Because I like creating things that don't exist.
And I think that even just listening to your story, it makes a lot of sense on how and why you ended up partnering with OnTECH, because I feel like, there's obviously a different semantics about it, but the message is still the same of, not being afraid to be the one doing something different for all of the right reasons.
Well, I appreciate that compliment. And yes, I definitely feel that God guides me toward places where I call it the redheaded stepchild. And, you just got to put your arm around each other and figure it out together. And OnTECH to me is a place that needs to have the spotlight. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the opportunity to look at a place that says, hey, we're different. We want to get our message out. We want to show people who we are. We want to control our message and really, be different and dare to be different and take calculated positive risks. And it's what I'm all about. So the fact that you saw that in my story and you saw the link is truly one of the nicest compliments anybody's given me. And I give it right back to OnTECH. I'm happy to be here.
We're definitely excited to work with you.
Well, thank you. My question back to you, Heaven. If you took over my show for the day and you could have any 3 guests living or that have passed away, Wake Up Call with Heaven Lewis tomorrow morning would feature who and why?
Oh boy. The first person that I would want to feature is a teacher that I had back in middle school. He was my 8th grade ELA teacher. He has since passed, but he is a man who had very strong convictions and instilled a lot of the things that I try to incorporate into my teaching. And I feel like some people just have a way of talking to people and getting that like words of wisdom out that is just so important for more people to hear. Similar to that, I think another person that I would have is my uncle, Mark English, who similarly has also passed, but he is somebody who, has always pushed you to, to do the scary things, to work hard for what you want and to not be afraid to stand up for what's important. And, I have always kept all of that feedback with me and tried to instill it into others. And then somebody that we are also, starting to work with OnTECH, Coach Love Nicholson has quickly become one of my very favorite people. Just the message and things that she does for our community are so well aligned with OnTECH that, I think her being able to get her message out is also important.
Well, I would watch it. I love it. It sounds like 3 inspirational people. So, I love that stuff. I love being able to take something that, what do they say? Jim Valvano said, if you think, laugh, and cry in a day, you've had one hell of a day. So I would definitely think that would come from that conversation. What's your next question for me?
I think my next question is what sort of things at OnTECH do you think deserve to be, that you've seen so far, deserve to be highlighted more and to be seen in our community, just because, we are smaller and our name isn't out there as much as, we think it should be?
I think how the classroom is set up. I think what I get to see, when I walk into a science classroom and there's plants and there's actual things happening. That's one of the first things I said to Alan. I was like, so you're actually doing stuff. You're not just reading. And I mean, I said, I would have loved to have that. I would have loved to be in school and be working on something and seeing it actually come to life. I remember going into science classrooms and, you're handed 7 rocks and they say, tell me 13 differences with these rocks. And they all look like gray rocks. There was no, and then I come into the classroom at OnTECH and I was like, wow, we're actually planting, watching it grow, and it's alive. There's something vibrant in the classroom that's tangible. I thought that was so cool to see something like that. And so I would say spotlighting how the classroom is immersive and real as opposed to just reading. I would say, telling the stories like we did today. I mean, you're the girls flag football head coach, but we spent most of the time speaking on the differences in education. How do you handle those differences? How do you let a kid be seen? And how do you show them their wounds and then help them have solutions to move forward? And how do they deal with social media? I mean, I think accentuating conversations like this that anybody needs to hear, parents, grandparents, aunts and uncles, the kids themselves, other teachers, people looking at getting into the field of education, therapists. I think our conversation today was so effective to anyone that I think those need to be out there more. That's why I'm so happy we had it. I was moved by it. So I think show them the classroom, let them see, that we're going beyond the typical teaching at OnTECH. And then I would say, show the kids and let them speak, which is what I'm going to do, because I have met kids that are like, the first thing I have seen with the OnTECH charter high school student athletes that I've met is their manners. Like, that's the first thing that I've taken. I can meet kids that come from a rich school and come from this and come from money and don't come from money. And these people come from that community and across town over here. But I will tell you, one of the kids yesterday, I was talking with, I think it was DJ. And so we were having a conversation by the recycling booth that was there. And Alan Bidwell introduced us. And he looked at me and he said, all I really want to say is that, I want to thank you for coming out here. And I look forward to talking with you. Like, I want to thank you for being here to tell our stories. And it was the way he looked at me and the way he spoke to me that I was like, what a nice kid. And he was telling me, like, meeting me for a second, he was like, I value that you're here. And any human being that makes another human being feel seen and valued, what an incredible thing to do. And here's a teenager making an adult feel like, hey, I just want to tell you that I really appreciate you and your time and that you matter. And I just thought to myself, what a great thing to do to another human being. And it stuck with me. Like, I can literally see his face from yesterday clearly looking at me saying, all I really want to say is that I appreciate that you're here. Like, I appreciate you're going to tell my story, and I look forward to it. I'm excited about it. That to me, just, especially in today's world, when you let somebody know that they're valued, that was such a great thing that I don't even know if he really knew that he did that.
I will definitely tell him. He's a great kid, but I think just that concept of, they know that we're a smaller school, and that doesn't always get them all of the kudos that they deserve. So I think when they have people or recognition, when they get opportunities that get presented to us, that they're just so excited and appreciative of it, that it makes us even want to do it more.
Yeah, and I came here for a reason, and it seems pretty simple that telling their stories is all we got to do, and that's what I'm here for. So my final question to you, Heaven, I will give you a bonus one because you've been so great with mine, but my final question to you is, if you came out onto the girls' flag football field and you had an anthem, what song would it be and why?
Oh, I think I'm gonna go with the song we kind of played a lot in just on the bus and things like that, and just the Started from the Bottom by Drake, and just the concept of we have worked, we grind for what we want, and they're aware that nothing gets handed to them, and they have to not only be good athletes to do well, but they also have to be good people, good students.
I love it. Started from the bottom, now we're here. Can't wait.
Yeah.
What is your final question for me? You get to put the gavel down on this Wolfpack mentality. So what's your last question?
My last question would be, who do you think has been the most influential in your life to getting you where you are now?
I'm going to say three things. I'm going to say my faith in God. I mean, I don't push it on anybody. It is just every essence of me. I think one of the greatest things that anybody had ever said to me was, you never push God on us. You never force anything, but it is absolutely clear knowing you for a few minutes that you believe in him, and it's in your essence. So I would say, who do I feel like has really inspired me to help me be the person I am today and to get me here is God. I had the conversation with my best friend yesterday that I would not be here right now if not for God reaching his hand into a black hole and saying, son, you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And I think that helps me understand a lot of people's plight more than they think. I had a great childhood, had a wonderful life. My parents gave me everything. And under the surface, there were struggles that I got through, and I think I suffered in silence a lot of the times, and that's why I'm loud about helping people. I would say my second is my grandma, my G-mama, my mom's mom, greatest human being that I've ever been around. I miss her like crazy. We would go on dates to the zoo, and we would go to the movies, and I would take her to get her hair done on Fridays, and we would eat lunch together. There's still no Brageau like hers. There's still no stuffed shells like hers. There's still no BLTs like hers. There's still no watching The Price is Right like you watch it when Grandma and I are watching it. And I mean, she gave me some of the greatest advice in the world, and I can use it in anything. And I'm going to tell you two things that she said to me that I think can help anybody watching or listening in any part of your life. So one of the things, I was sitting with her one day, and the news was on, and of course there's fires and there's murders and there's shootings and stabbings and all the, everything that the news focuses on instead of any of the good stuff. And then she's reading the newspaper, which has its own bad stuff. And I said to my grandma, I said, gee, why are you positive? And she looked at me, I said, why are you such a positive person? Like, you're watching all this negativity, you're reading all this negativity. I said, how can you stay positive in a negative world? And she looked at me, and this was like, this was over 20 years ago. And she looked at me and she said, what's the alternative? And that hit. Yeah. And so there's that. And then there was this other moment, and I'm going to really try to not get emotional in this moment, but there was another moment where she was sitting at the table, and the way that the dining room table was set up against the wall, there was a big clock, and she sat, so it was like seat. Well, let me do it this way because it's opposite. So a seat, two seats, and then seat over here. She always sat here, which was closest to the kitchen, and that's where my grandpa used to sit. And so she's sitting there, and she's got her hands folded. And I went up to her and I said, hey, G, I'm feeling, I'm feeling the weight of the world. You always tell me to lean on you. And you always say, like, if you, lean on me and I got you. And she would joke with me. She goes, I'm little, don't lean too hard. But she would always say, you can lean on me and I got you. And I said, do you have me? I said, gee, you got me? And she had her eyes closed and she shook her head and she said, no. I said, what do you mean? You always have me. Like you always keep me up. And she said to me, I'm not behind you anymore. And I said, why? She said, you don't need me anymore. You're strong enough. And then she passed away shortly after that. And like, best human in the world. And so there's that. And then I would say, honestly, I've never said this, so you're the first one that's going to hear it. But I would also say that I've inspired myself, and not in an ego way, not in a, I feel something about myself in that respect. I want to give myself credit for becoming the man that I am today and choosing to be who I am today. I have every reason to not trust in this world. I have every reason to be cynical, to be negative, to be depressed. I have had enough things happen in my life that I could very easily be a very jaded person. And I have decided to love and accept love in a world where I have been used, manipulated, lied to, cheated on, stabbed in the back. And so if anybody's watching or listening to this right now, in a world where I have been given every reason to be a mad, hateful, angry, negative person, I choose to love, to give opportunities, and to believe that the next person is going to do something good and going to bring something good into my life. So I would say the strongest thing about me is I haven't given up when I've had a lot of reasons to. That's what I would say.
I really appreciate you sharing that and being open, because it's, that a lot of that resonates with me. And, the kids will come in at 9:00 in the morning and be like, "Miss, why are you so happy right now? Like, why do you have so much energy?" And I'm just like, it is just, who I have chosen to be, and just, really instilling to the younger generation that, it is a choice, and, the hand that you were dealt is not the hand that you have to play your whole life, and that you have a lot of choices to see the good, and to not only see it, but to be the good. And it's important.
Well, fine words said. See the good and be the good. A lot of great things shared here this morning, and I know it'll have a positive ripple effect in our community and beyond. Heaven, like I said before, and now especially after the conversation, I don't know where we go from here. But this Wolfpack mentality with Heaven Lewis teaching and coaching at OnTECH Charter High School in Syracuse. Heaven, thank you for officially starting off this partnership with OnTECH with such a wonderful conversation about life and about the realness that is in the daily for these students, for adults, and for those in our community and beyond our community. This is a conversation that anybody could take something from. So thank you for giving me the chance to have it today. And I'll look forward to talking with you as well as your student athletes in the future.
Thank you so much, Dan. I'm looking forward to having them on as well.
Appreciate it. I'll talk with you soon.
Thank you.
Take care. That coming once again from Heaven Lewis here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, where sports meets life. Ironic how I said play on words, where do you go from heaven? But after a conversation like that, I couldn't ask for a better way to start off a partnership than to have those words, theories, thoughts, experiences shared today. Because those of you that know Wake Up Call, I don't just call it that because it's a morning show. I call it Wake Up Call because it is a call to action, a call to being honest with yourself, a call to asking the most out of yourself, to challenging yourself, to not accepting mediocrity. I have a sign in the studio behind me that says, "It is what it is, but it will become what you make of it." I've never liked the thing, "It is what it is." If it is what it is, we'd still have slavery. If it is what it is, women wouldn't be voting right now. Like, it is what it is stating whatever life is right now is going to stay that way. Whether you like it or not, that's what it is. That's why my sign says, "It is what it is, but it will become what you make of it." It doesn't have to stay that way. It doesn't have to be that way. It's one thing to accept things you cannot change. It's another thing to not seek to change the things you can. And I can't make anybody do or say anything, but I can set my standards, I can set my boundaries, and I can be the person that I hope to attract. Be it personally, be it in business, I can be the person that I hope to attract. If I want honesty, then I need to be honest. If I want somebody who is non-argumentative, I have to be a person that's non-argumentative. If I don't want someone who critiques and judges me and constantly makes me feel like I have to walk on eggshells, then I have to be that person too. If I want someone to be on time, then I need to be on time. If I want honesty, then I need to be honest. If I want to be understood, I have to seek to understand. I think that is the lost art in the world today is we want to sleep next to, be friends with, work with people that are all of the qualities that we consider great, but you have to be those qualities first before you can ask for those qualities. Or else you're going to abuse and mistreat when a person of those qualities actually enters your life. Because if you want them, but you're not exhibiting them yourself, you're going to take advantage of it. And I think today's conversation was so much about the human experience. Here we were set up to talk about girls flag football, but as this show always has been and always will be, it is where sports meets life. And we met it today. And you can be sure I'm going to go back and watch this when I need that pick-me-up, when I need that moment, and I need that reminder. And I hope you will too. OnTECH, we started this thing off with a giant sound. A beautiful melody. Let's keep it going. We'll be back inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios right after this.
Avicoli's restaurant, located on 7839 Oswego Road in Liverpool, New York, has been serving our community for decades. Your place to go for home cooking on the corner of Route 57 and Wetzel Road is just minutes from Liverpool High School. And every single month, Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora is on site, on location, with Liverpool sports, student athletes, coaches, and administration telling their stories throughout the year. We look forward to seeing you on site at Avicoli's for their casual pizza side, their fine dining, as well as their bar. And of course, you can order online at myavicolis.com. That's myavicollis.com. For takeout, delivery, and catering, call 315-622-5100. That's 315-622-5100. Come on in to the neighborhood spot Avicoli's, open 7 days a week in Liverpool, New York. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is your home away from home for your furry-loving friends. Open 7 days a week with drop-off and pickup times in the morning and later on in the day and early evening. K9 Campground Dog Boarding is the spot to trust with your dog for short and long-term stays. Call 315-299-4013 for more information. That's 315-299-4013, and go to k9campground.com as well. That's K9, ground.com, where you will find all of the information on their different cabins, which include the classic cabin, executive cabin, grand cabin, and luxury cabin. K9 Campground Dog Boarding, where your dog will have indoor and outdoor areas as well as their own private cabin for any size, any breed, as well as dogs with different needs. Dog parents and dogs alike choose K9 Campground Dog Boarding. Isn't that right, Lily?
Hello, this is Dylan Husted, the owner of the Baked Potato Express. We do mostly big festivals or big corporate like private events. Typically just big festivals such as like Taste of Syracuse, Food Truck Battle, Battle of the Wings. I do the State Fair. They're ordering from a fresh food truck that is making real food and happy to make it and wants them to enjoy every bite. We season every potato before they go in the oven, and then they bake for an hour, and when they come out, we season them again after we cut them. We use real butter, real cheese, real ingredients, so it's all really good food, and people love it. We have a lot of returning customers and regulars that we see very often. The customers really make a big impact, and this is a big food truck community. The events here are super busy. It's like in my blood. I like building things and creating stuff that people love, and me and my friends are the ones that run the truck, so it's kind of, it's a tight circle in there, and we have like a family sort of oriented truck, and it's a lot of fun, and we have a good time doing it, and people love our food, so it ends up making it well for everybody. You can contact the Baked Potato Express at thebakedpotatoexpress@gmail.com or the Baked Potato Express on Instagram or TikTok. We are very happy to be partnered up with Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora as the exclusive sponsor of the Annoying Moment of the Week. And be sure to try DT's baked potato creation at all of our food trucks. The Baked Potato Express. Let's get baked.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
This is Jim Dispenza, owner of Game Point Sports Complex. You hear the same story across any sport that kids play and any sport that adults play. There's never enough places to play. That was definitely true with volleyball, definitely true with basketball. It could be cheerleading, it could be field hockey, which is what we're seeing now. Every sport has a lack of places to play, and I think Syracuse in particular is a place where it's really bad. Despite the fact that we've got a lot of athletic talent around here, we just seem to have not enough places for people to play, and they're going to different places. They're going to Rochester, they're going to, Buffalo. They're going all different places because we don't have a place here, and I felt like that should change. This was a long project from planning all the way through execution to opening the doors. A lot of work went into it, obviously, a lot of money, a lot of resources, and the dream always was kids being in the gym, having a good time. And I've always felt like sports is the most unfiltered joy that you can observe with people, that people can experience, because it is fun, it is a sense of accomplishment, it's all of that wrapped into one thing. And so watching kids going up and down the court with big smiles on their faces has been just amazing experience. I'm looking forward to years to come of that same thing. We've taken the time to invest in multiple sports, and then what we're finding is the mere fact that we have a large, clean, well-lit space has opened a lot more doors for us beyond basketball, volleyball, pickleball. Now we're having some interest from cheerleading. We've got girls field hockey coming in, and then also there's quite a bit of room for spectators. We've got bleachers, we've got benches, we've got a concession lounge where people can get food and drinks. We're going to have multiple sports going at the same time, using every square inch of this place for what it was conceived for, which is basically people to come in, have a good time in the sport that they prefer. We manage each situation differently. Everybody has different ability to afford different things. Some are bringing 10, 15 people, some are just 2 people. I've had a lot of situations where it's a father shooting around with his son, it's a mother playing pickleball with her daughter or with her son, and in those situations come up and we work with people, and that's allowed us to have groups from 2 people up to 30 people and have some flexible pricing behind it. We're an organization that is here to work with the community any way we can, and I guess part of it is just making sure that we have the flexibility to put together a plan that makes sense regardless of the size of your group. So in order to book time, the best option is to go to our website, gamepointsports-syr.com. You can click from there and sign up for events, sign up for your own particular training, sign up for birthday parties, all of that.
Big West, only the bold.
Looking for your next ride? Look no further than Great Lakes Honda City, located on 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Serving our community for decades, their new and pre-owned vast array of vehicles are available to you Monday through Saturday on site. To search from home, shop at GreatLakesHondaCity.com. Call 315-365-5576 to set up an appointment. That's 315-365-5576 for Great Lakes Honda City, 7140 Henry Clay Boulevard in Liverpool, New York. Great cars, great people, Great Lakes.
This is Amy from Mother's Cupboard, home of the whole frittata. We are open daily 6 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. For takeout orders, call 315-432-0942 and tune in to Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora for our monthly food challenge and try our Wake Up Call signature menu item available 7 days a week. Here at Mother's Cupboard, we are Central New York, and it's our honor to serve you.
Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory remind us that every day is worth celebrating at 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York. Open Monday through Saturday in-store and always online at maandpaspopcorn.com. Serving our Central New York community and beyond, order anywhere, anytime at maandpaspopcorn.com. Stop in to get a tin at Ma and Pa's on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York to get your half-price refills for the rest of your life. Come to Ma and Pa's for your holiday gift giving for family, friends, employees, and clients. And remember, for fundraising and events, to call 315-450-6272. That's 315-450-6272. Ma and Pa's Kettle Corn and Popcorn Factory. How corny are you?
This is Jimmer Sikowski, owner-operator of Chick-fil-A Cicero, 7916 Brewerton Road in Cicero, right in front of the Home Depot. I had a deep feeling that God wanted me to do something bigger with my life and to help people, help others. I kept putting Chick-fil-A in my life, and I realized as I was going through the franchise selection process that positively impacting the lives of others was really core to what we do here at Chick-fil-A. First of all, it starts with the food. The food is brought in fresh daily, and we bring in local produce. We prepare to order in the kitchen. We hand bread our chicken. We hand spin our milkshakes. It's great food. It doesn't taste like fast food. I think the second thing is the way people feel when they come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. It's different. We try to treat people with intentional kindness here, which is very different and deeper than good customer service. And so I think it feels remarkable for most people to come in a Chick-fil-A restaurant. And then lastly, the impact that we try to have in the community is very different. It's a big part of the expectation of every operator of a Chick-fil-A restaurant is that they're actively engaged in their community, they're a leader in the community, and they're making a difference. When they realize that what we're striving to do is to shine a little light in their life, that's a very, very different experience than you will have in any other quick service restaurant. And it's that remarkable experience that I think people will emotionally connect with.
The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is located on 3680 Milton Avenue in the Home Depot Plaza. It is your family-friendly sports bar and restaurant. Folks, some sports bars aren't family-friendly. Some family-friendly restaurants are not sports bars. The Wildcat Sports Pub in Camillus, New York is proud to be both. It is that marriage that you've been looking for years. The Wildcat Sports Pub is your home base for your sports bar and restaurant needs, games for the kids, indoor and outdoor activities, and enough things on the menu to come back every single week and get to try something new. They're open Sundays from noon to 8 p.m., Monday through Wednesday, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m., and Thursday through Saturday from 11 a.m. to midnight. For reservations and party information, call 315-487-2222 for the Wildcat family-friendly sports pub and restaurant.
GG Cards and Breaks. Like, comment, subscribe.
GG Cards and Breaks coming to you on 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York is your one-stop sports card and trading card shop. Go be a big kid today, and every Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6, Sundays from 10 to 5 with singles, packs, boxes, graded cards, and more at GG Cards and Breaks. The perfect place to go for a gift for someone or something for yourself. If you've never collected cards before, a lot of us are sports fans, so go and find your favorite team, your favorite player. Some of us like to play the games, so Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Pokemon, One Piece, Disney Lorcana. Find it all while supplies last at GG Cards and Breaks, a place to have that kid spirit live on forever, a place to make memories, and a beautiful card community that has helped me meet some of the most wonderful people that I've become friends with. I can't say enough about GG Cards and Breaks. I want you to experience it. So go over there and see what it's like to be immersed in the fun at GG Cards and Breaks today, 639 Delmar Place in Syracuse, New York. We look forward to seeing you out there Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 and Sundays from 10 to 5. With that being said, here on Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, I want to thank you inside the Great Lakes Honda City Studios for hanging out with us on youtube.com and facebook.com, both /wakeupcalldt, and on wakeupcalldt.mixlr.com. And once the shows go live, they hop into the archive, and you could find us by going to Amazon Music, Audible, iHeartRadio, iTunes and Apple Podcasts, Player FM, Podbean, Podchaser.com, Podvine, Spotify, TuneIn, and YouTube. All you have to do is search Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora, or one word, Wake Up Call DT. So make sure you do that today. You can also find us by going to your Alexa or Google device and asking them to play the latest episode of Wake Up Call with Dan Tortora. So make sure you do that. Many thanks to our incredible partners here in Central and Upstate New York: Great Lakes Honda City, the Wildcat Sports Pub, GG Cards and Breaks, Mon Paz, the snack capital of the world, the Baked Potato Express, which is riding out to your community all throughout this beautiful season, and you will find my exclusive breakfast potato there, bacon, egg, and cheese on top of their beautifully seasoned potatoes, and of course a little bit of maple syrup. Gray's Craze of Clay, New York, Skippy's Ice Cream, Canine Camp Dog Daycare, Pizza Man, Mother's Cupboard, where you will find my 7-day-a-week breakfast sandwich exclusively there, the Cuse Mac Mother, bacon, egg, and cheese inside of 2 pieces of French toast. Cut it up and eat it cut it up and have it with some syrup, pick it up and eat it like a sandwich. You can find it 7 days a week on 3709 James Street in Syracuse, New York. Canine Campground Dog Boarding, Avicoli's, Chick-fil-A Cicero, Game Point Sports Complex, Willow Rock Brewery, and the Willow Rock Pizza Pub. And of course, we are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner of your OnTECH Charter High School Gray Wolves. You'll find Wolfpack Mentality and the leaders of the pack coming to you every single month in our exclusive multimedia marketing partnership with OnTECH Charter High School. Wolfpack Mentality Thursdays at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Time, and leaders of the pack being featured once a month every single month of our partnership here with OnTECH Charter High School. Find out more about OnTECH by going to ontechcharter.com. And I also want to make a note here when it comes to OnTECH Charter High School, some things that you need to know about who they truly are, and that it's a fresh start for high school success. To be a part of the Wolfpack means having a premium on creating a healthy, caring community that focuses on the mental and physical health of teenagers. It's located here in Syracuse, and it's open to all students in New York State, regardless of district. A truly unique hybrid, and what I mean by that is it's a public school that accepts anyone from any district. So come from wherever you are to a new opportunity, a unique place, and a beautiful, beautiful experience at OnTECH Charter High School, where they truly want you to be ready to graduate, to have a career, and when it comes to student-staff relationships, that's very important to them. Relationship-based over transactional and personalized learning, hands-on opportunities, as well as a growing athletic program. Find it all at OnTECH, and you can find out more by going to ontechcharter.com. We are the exclusive multimedia marketing partner also of your Binghamton University Bearcats. Find the Bearcats every Tuesday during Bearcat Time at 10 a.m. Eastern Time with student athletes, coaches, administration, and alumni joining the show. The Bearcats can be found by going to youtube.com/wakeupcalldt. Click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and find our Binghamton playlist. The Bearcats are also on wakeupcalldt.com's homepage and underneath the Multimedia Partners tab. For more information, go to binghamtonbearcats.com and go Bearcats. I want to thank Papa Joe for being a part of the show today. I want to thank Ma and Pa's for giving us the list of topics and guests for the day. Shout out to Ma and Pa's, the snack capital of the world. Visit them on 201 7th North Street in Liverpool, New York, and visit them at events all throughout the community with their many food trucks and trailers. And of course, they will be at the New York State Fair. I tell people all the time, if you want to experience the fair in just one area, go right to Ma and Pa's. You'll get cotton candy, deep fried this, deep fried that, including their deep fried Oreos. They have their funnel cakes. They have popcorn, caramel corn, kettle corn, their lemonades, and more. And you can find it all by simply walking up to a Ma and Pa's truck. We look forward to seeing you out there. And if you're out of town, you can order at maandpaspopcorn.com. Thank you to Great Lakes Honda City for being our exclusive studio partner. Find us all the time on Facebook at Wake Up Call DT, X at Call DT, Instagram at Wake Up Call _DT, and of course on all of those, including YouTube at Wake Up Call DT. You could find all of my most recent Syracuse camp interviews, including with quarterback Steve Angeli, wide receivers coach Josh Gaddis, wide receiver Umari Hatcher, and my extended conversation with running back Tyleek Hill. Have a beautiful, wonderful day. Thank you to OnTECH. I'm so happy that we got to experience our first ever Wolfpack Mentality, the inaugural episode today, making our partnership even more tangible and real here in our community and beyond. Once again, anyone from New York State, regardless of district, is welcome to apply to OnTECH Charter High School, and I look forward to seeing you there. In the meantime, have a wonderful day. Be good to yourself. Stand up for who you are, and be that loving, caring person. I appreciate you. I send you my love and respect. God bless. No stress. Do your best. We'll talk soon.